What do you look at if you truly want to understand where a city is headed, the headlines or the patterns forming beneath them? In 2026, Jacksonville's trajectory is not defined by one flashy announcement or a single crane piercing the skyline. It is defined by a series of coordinated signals that, when viewed together, tell a larger story about confidence, reinvestment, and execution. Observers paying close attention to Northeast Florida this year are not simply scanning for ribbon cuttings. They are watching what is being approved, what is opening, and where financial institutions are choosing to deepen their roots. Those three forces, development, hospitality, and banking, quietly shape property values, employment growth, neighborhood perception, and long-term economic durability. And right now, Jacksonville is showing movement across all three fronts. Recent downtown approvals tied to the Downtown Investment Authority and the historic Snyder Memorial Church reflect renewed belief in the urban core. The arrival of a new hospitality concept, Bar Citra, signals growing appetite for curated lifestyle experiences. Meanwhile, TCB Community Bank's local expansion confirms that capital sees long-term opportunity in this market. These are not isolated updates. They are connected indicators of a city transitioning from discussion to delivery. Jacksonville in 2026 is not speculating about growth. It is implementing it.
Downtown remains the emotional center of this conversation. For years, Jacksonville's urban core has carried both promise and frustration. Announcements have come and gone. Incentive packages have been debated. Historic properties have waited in varying states of dormancy. The question has not been whether downtown has potential, but whether momentum would stick. When the Downtown Investment Authority moves forward on projects, particularly those involving architecturally and historically significant structures, it sends a message that confidence is solidifying. The recent approval tied to Snyder Memorial Church exemplifies that shift. The church is not merely another building on a redevelopment list. It is a visual landmark within the Cathedral District, a piece of Jacksonville's architectural narrative. Its stained glass brickwork and silhouette are embedded in the city's identity. Advancing plans to reposition and reintegrate such a property into active use represents more than adaptive reuse. It represents long-term belief in downtown's viability. Mature cities evolve by preserving character while modernizing function. They do not erase their history, they elevate it. When dormant assets return to productive life, foot traffic increases, retail demand strengthens, residential conversions become more feasible. Restaurants and small businesses follow rooftops, and rooftops follow investor confidence. No single approval transforms a district overnight, but approvals accumulate. They build narrative. Narrative builds trust, and trust unlocks capital. The significance of Snyder Memorial Church's movement through the approval process lies not only in the building itself, but in what it symbolizes: collaboration between public agencies and private stakeholders, strategic use of redevelopment tools, and alignment around a shared vision for downtown vitality. Incentives, preservation grants, and structured financing mechanisms are not merely bureaucratic exercises. They are catalysts. When deployed thoughtfully, they reduce risk for private investment and accelerate momentum rather than distort it. Jacksonville's willingness to lean into this approach in 2026 reflects a city that understands the importance of execution over endless conversation. Yet downtown does not operate in isolation. It is part of a broader ecosystem where lifestyle energy increasingly shapes economic direction. The opening of Bar Citra is one example of how hospitality functions as an early indicator of urban confidence. New restaurant and bar concepts do not materialize casually. They require leases, build-outs, staffing, branding, and substantial upfront capital. Operators move forward when they believe foot traffic will materialize, and consumer demand will sustain them. Bar Citra's emergence suggests that Jacksonville's hospitality market has matured beyond transactional dining toward experience-driven environments. Design-forward spaces, curated menus, and intentional brand identities are replacing generic offerings. That evolution matters because lifestyle amenities influence real estate desirability in tangible ways. Residents increasingly select neighborhoods based on proximity to walkable dining clusters, social spaces, and cultural activity. When hospitality density increases, perception shifts. A district moves from developing to vibrant. Property owners take note. Developers reevaluate land values. Buyers adjust expectations. What appears to be a single new bar contributes to a compounding effect when paired with additional openings. Jacksonville's hospitality growth in 2026 reflects demographic shifts as well, an influx of young professionals, remote workers, and families seeking quality of life experiences alongside economic opportunity. These establishments become social anchors. They host gatherings, celebrations, and community conversations. They generate employment and attract visitors. And importantly, they signal that the city's growth is not purely industrial or logistical. It is experiential. That experiential growth differentiates transitional cities from ascending ones. Meanwhile, the expansion of TCB Community Bank may not generate the same visual excitement as a hospitality launch, but it carries equal weight in assessing Jacksonville's trajectory. Banks do not expand branches or deepen market presence without clear evidence of deposit growth, loan demand, and sustained economic activity. When a community bank chooses to increase its footprint locally, it is effectively placing a bet on residential development, small business formation, commercial real estate transactions, and long-term population stability. In a national climate where economic conversations can fluctuate between optimism and caution, local banking expansion represents grounded confidence in Jacksonville's fundamentals. The city's diversified economic base, spanning logistics, healthcare, financial services, defense, and emerging technology sectors, provides the stability that banks require. Community banks thrive on proximity and relationship building. Their expansion indicates that entrepreneurs are seeking capital, developers are initiating projects, and families are securing mortgages. Financial infrastructure growth may be less visible than cranes or grand openings, but it forms the backbone of sustained development. Capital access determines whether ideas become realities.
When these three narratives, downtown reinvestment, hospitality evolution, and banking expansion, are considered together, a pattern becomes unmistakable. Jacksonville in 2026 is operating in execution mode. The city is moving beyond speculative planning into tangible action. Projects are advancing through approval pipelines. New concepts are opening their doors. Financial institutions are increasing local capacity. Growth is radiating outward rather than concentrating in a single district. Downtown redevelopment influences adjacent neighborhoods, such as Springfield and the South Bank. Hospitality energy elevates Riverside, the beaches, and mixed-use corridors across the metropolitan area. Banking growth supports suburban expansion as well as infill revitalization. This interconnectedness enhances resilience. A diversified growth model reduces vulnerability to sector-specific slowdowns. If hospitality temporarily softens, financial services and industrial development provide stability. If residential construction pauses, commercial reinvestment can continue to generate activity. Jacksonville's evolution reflects layering rather than reliance on a singular identity. It is no longer defined solely as a military town, a logistics hub, or a beach destination. It is becoming a composite city where multiple sectors reinforce one another. Challenges remain as they do in any expanding metropolitan area. Infrastructure must adapt. Traffic patterns require management. Affordability pressures demand thoughtful planning. Historic preservation must balance modernization. Yet what distinguishes upward trending cities is whether activity outweighs hesitation. In Jacksonville's current environment, activity is prevailing. Observers evaluating relocation or investment decisions often look for three confirmations. Are projects moving forward? Are operators entering the market? Are financial institutions committing capital locally? In 2026, Jacksonville answers yes to each question. Narrative matters because belief drives investment. When residents believe in their city's future, they renovate homes, start businesses, and support local establishments. When entrepreneurs believe in trajectory, they sign leases and hire staff. When banks believe in fundamentals, they extend credit and expand branches. Confidence compounds over time. The visible approvals tied to historic downtown properties, the curated hospitality openings shaping neighborhood identity, and the deliberate banking expansions embedding deeper into community networks collectively reflect a city whose belief curve is trending upward. Jacksonville's growth story this year is not defined by a single mega project dominating headlines. It is defined by steady reinforcement across multiple sectors. Approvals, openings, and expansions form the scaffolding of sustainable progress. And when a city moves in alignment across development, lifestyle, and finance, it signals long-term durability rather than fleeting momentum. I'm Luke Christmas, and it's always Christmas when you work with Christmas Homes.